Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 6, but this sort of relates to the entire Arrowverse, not just The Flash. So we've just had the return of The Flash to our screens following the mid-season break, which was of course fairly long because it was sort of sandwiched in between the two segments of Crisis, so we've sort of added an extra 2 weeks there, and then we were missing out with The Flash for another 2 weeks because other shows were there, so it was a very long break. But we did return with a pretty big bang, I guess you could say, with Barry really not playing that big of a role in the episode, but it was more Iris pushing the Black Hole storyline forward, which has led to another change from Crisis being revealed, which is a new Mirror Master, that of course being Eva McCulloch. With Iris being dragged by her into that mirror in her office within McCulloch Technologies right at the end of the episode. But one of the big things that we saw early on into the episode was the new timeline for the post-Crisis Earth, or simply Earth Prime, and of course we did see the binder of villains that Cisco had, which included some new cases, which had a villain we saw in the episode, which was a new version of Dr. Light, that being the actual female version from the comics known as Kamio Hoshi. But in this video we're going to be going over that timeline specifically, break it down and point out anything that has changed and I guess that needs to be discussed that some might be unfamiliar with. So yeah, but of course throughout the video be sure to leave all your various opinions in the comment section down below, which is the most interesting to you here. Let me know if I made any errors here because the writing was sort of hard to make out. I think I've got most of it right outside of maybe one or two words. As I said, it was hard to see because it wasn't in focus all the time. But yeah, let me know if I've made any mistakes. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you found this video interesting, why not drop a like on it to show support and well, knowledge acquired, if that makes sense. Now, one of the minor things I guess you could say that some of you might have seen was that it was draft V52 or version 52 of the timeline, but I probably wouldn't look too much into the amount of times it's written there or the number 52, as it's obviously, you know, the usual Easter egg with the number 52. But at least we can assume that they have had a few different layouts of the timeline before this one we see right now. So they've had a few different tries to try and nail it out as best as they can. But we will go over this in chronological order, as that just makes the most sense to me, and it's just generally easier for me, so I'm not going back and forth like some weird flashback sequence, I guess you could say, but here we go. So obviously we're going to start in the year 2000, which was the year in which Eobard Thawne actually kills Nora Allen. So this is pretty much cementing the fact that Nora Allen is dead. Yeah, so Nora Allen is dead. That's in the timeline. That's fixtured in this new Earth's timeline. So yeah, the year 2000. F's in the chat for Nora Allen. In the year 2003, we have Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, crash landing on Earth, which fits in with what we'd seen before. It is interesting that they don't have anything about Superman specifically on here. Maybe that's because... Do we ever really learn what year Superman came out? And like, well, came out, that sounds a bit odd. You know, in regards to when he started, you know, when did Clark start being Superman? Around Metropolis and stuff. I don't think we've ever actually heard that on the show, so maybe that's why it didn't place on the timeline, but yeah, that fits in there. 2005, we had the whole John Jones, Hank Henshaw incident, which was, of course, when Kara Danvers' dad, can't remember what his name was, Jeremiah? I think it was Jeremiah, you know, does the whole thing saving John Jones, and then John Jones takes on the alias of Hank Henshaw, and really that hasn't really happened, or we haven't really referred to him as Hank since that whole thing when he came out as Martian Manhunter, so yeah, that happened in 2005. In 2007, we had the Queen Gambit sinking, which links up with everything else. 2008, we had Slade Wilson being injected with Mirakuru. Obviously, we had a bit of a Mirakuru throwback, if you want to call it, in this week's episode of The Flash. Wish there was actually some Mirakuru in that box, it would have been interesting. Barry injecting himself with some Mirakuru, that'd be pretty deadly. Now, this is one of the ones where people were sort of mixing it up and maybe not being able to read what it says, but this is in 2009, it says... Well, this is what I'm pretty sure it says. Jefferson Pierce stops being Black Lightning. I'm pretty sure that's what it says there. And then also under that, it also says Alpha Omega virus unleashed. I think it's unleashed on Hong Kong. So that fits into that timeline there. I guess it would be interesting to see if, like, you know, the residents on Prime Earth have, like, knowledge of Black Lightning being around back in the day and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool if those references there, but... At least on this timeline, they have the whole, some Black Lightning references, which is pretty cool. I think it's about 3 or 4 on this timeline, so yeah. Now, this is one where you can only see one word, I'm pretty sure. Now, in 2011, it says magic something. There's magic and then something under it. I have no idea what it could say, because I don't think there's any shot where you can actually see what it says underneath it. You can just see in 2011, it's magic something. Now... I'm most likely, well, I'm pretty sure at least this most likely connects to Arrow's season 4 flashbacks, because that was when we had like the in like the present day we had the Magic season, but the flashbacks were to 2011, and that's when like Oliver was on Leanne New. There's like that magic idol and everything like that, and that magic idol ended up being in Damien Dark's possession. I think he ended up getting it in 2011 as well. So I'm thinking this is like when magic appears, or magic totem or something, magic idol, something along those lines, because the only thing I can think of in 2011 that had anything to do with magic was the Arrow Season 4 flashback. Once again, if you have any ideas as to what could be connected here, let me know. Because Constantine the show didn't start until 2014, so it wouldn't line up there. In 2012, we have the Hood debuts in Starling City, which makes sense. 2013, we had the Undertaking, which is of course the thing in Arrow Season 1 that Malcolm Merlyn started, and I guess Moira Queen as well. In 2014, we had a lot of stuff go down. We had the Particle Accelerator explosion, which of course was a big thing, and is going to continue playing on. Actually, that was in 2013. So that's actually wrong. The timeline sort of got it wrong. I think that actually happened in 2013, the Particle Accelerator explosion. Yeah, it's just that Barry wakes up in 2014. Am I correct in saying that? I think it's at the end of 2013, the Particle Accelerator explosion happens. And then in 2014, that's when Barry wakes up. I think that's what happens. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that. Anyway, so maybe the timeline got it wrong there. But anyway, we'll move Particle Accelerator explosion to 2013. So we'll start with 2014 again. Slade Wilson's army invades Starling City. Yeah, we all know that happens there. Then we have Barry Allen wakes up from coma and becomes the Flash. Of course, we know that happens. And here's an interesting one. We'd already obviously seen it in the End of Crisis, and it's also partly seen in the Arrow series finale. But we have John Jr. or John Diggle Jr. and Sarah Diggle are born. So this confirms they're twins. I don't think there'd been confirmation that they were twins before this timeline thing. So yeah, there's the confirmation. In 2015, we had Bruce Wayne last seen in Gotham City, Supergirl debuts in National City, and Rip Hunter recruits the Legends. So some pretty big things happen in 2015 as well. There's some years here where like minor things happen, and then there's just some years where it just seems like, oh, let's just stack on and put a lot of things happening in this year. So yeah. 2016, actually 3 big things. So we had the first Barry and Kara team up, so the first time the Flash and Supergirl teamed up. Zoom's army invades. Now, the interesting thing here is that in the brackets, it says created by Singularity, not from Earth 2. So does that mean like then the Singularity created just like these different offshoots of people and everything like that? I'm intrigued to see if they jump into that, or because there was an it was unclear whether it was a multiverse or not. They just think the Singularity created them. I'm intrigued to see what they do there, or they think it came from another dimension or something like that. I want to know what happens there. And then, of course, we had the Dominator invasion, which lines up there. The thing that sort of takes away from the Dominator invasion being as effective as it was back then when we first saw it is that, like, Superman and Supergirl were already there and there was already aliens before then. So when the Dominators came, that was like a big thing for Earth 1 because it was like, what the hell, aliens? But, you know, if Supergirl and Superman had been there and that whole stuff in Supergirl Season 1 happened, there were already aliens out and about, so yeah. And then the Ray debut. So the big thing to remember from the Ray, or with the Ray, is that he's actually from Earth 1 and went to Earth X. So yeah. But speaking of Earth X, in 2017, Barry/Iris, or Barry and Iris's wedding, interrupted by time-traveling Nazi clones. Once again, I think it's just the fact that they're unclear that there's a multiverse. So they're just saying, okay, well, where could they come from? They didn't come from another Earth. The multiverse doesn't exist, apparently, to them. So it must be some other thing, like whether it's time travel, or in the case of Zoom's army, it's from some weird singularity, like sort of portal thing. So I wonder if it will be corrected later on when they maybe find out there actually is a multiverse out there, that maybe these characters or armies and stuff actually came from other Earths. Because they're not specifying anything from the multiverse, which is pretty interesting. So apparently the Nazis that came in that wedding event, it wasn't even Crisis on Earth X, it was Crisis on time traveling Nazis, I guess. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens there with the future mentions or future events with the multiverse. In 2018, President Marsden exposed as an alien, Batwoman debuts, Black Lightning returns, and Thunder debuts. So that's like another pretty stacked year there, with 2 debuts and a return of an old favourite of Black Lightning, who's been gone for 9 years at that stage. In 2019, on December 19th, Crisis begins, and then in 2020, the heroes return and they stop the Anti-Monitor. So that's the timeline from what we can tell. I'm pretty sure that's everything there exactly how it should be, outside of the magic thing, because as I said, you can't see anything outside of magic, and I'm sure there's something else below that. I doubt I'd just say magic, because that's pretty vague. Now, obviously, there was also a map to, I guess, to the left of the board, if the board was looking at us, but if we're looking at the board, it's to the right. So there was a map there that was displayed next to this new timeline. There were a lot of new additions there, but they were just Easter eggs for the most part. So it's just like Kui Kui Island and Happy Harbor, to name a couple. But there was a pretty interesting thing there, and that pretty interesting thing was the inclusion of Gorilla City in Africa, which seems to be in either Congo or Gabon in regards to relating to like the real life map of the world. But yeah, that will obviously make Grodd showing up a little bit easier. He might need to like hire a plane, a boat, or maybe even learn to swim. But at least he doesn't have to figure out any sort of multiversal travel. I guess that's a pro there. But yeah guys, that's pretty much everything to go over here. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support, and I guess any knowledge gained, drop a like on the video I guess as well. As I said, if there were any errors in the video in regards to things on the timeline, in regards to the board, let me know. I didn't include other events because this would be like a 47-hour video. Let's be completely honest, if I included everything that happened in a certain year. So I was just basing it off that board that they wrote up there. But yeah, if there's any errors from there, please let me know, because I am curious, because it was hard to read everything because it wasn't focused, as I said before. But yeah, let me know if I got anything wrong, and also just let me know your general thoughts on what we went over in this video as well in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.